Do you want to know what's happening around the world of sports? Look no further than The Bench with your host, Blaine Ool.
Welcome back to another great episode of The Bench. We started off by talking about our doubleheader Friday night as our Lady Indians and our boys basketball team took on Sydney. Our Lady Indians battled hard, but the Jackets came up with the win, 49-41. Tyler Yeomans had a monster night with 24 points. The guys would also battle hard for 4 quarters in a physical, tough game. The boys would end up losing 69-50 as they will head to Tip City on tomorrow night, to take on the Red Devils. State champs. We bring you these state championship scores from Friday and Saturday's great matchups around Ohio. In Division 1, Pickering Central took down Cincinnati Elder 21-14 in a great game. Division 2, LaSalle defeated Massillon Washington 34-17. Division 3, Trotwood took down Mansfield 14-7 in overtime. Fantastic game. And Division 4, Clyde took down Licking Valley 42-14. Division 5, Kirkland defeated Ironton 17-7. And Division 6, Anna rolled over New Springfield 48-14. And finally, in Division 7, Marion Local gets another state ring with a win against Lucas 28-6. Your college football conference championship scores. In the Big Ten, after an ugly start, the Silver Bullets from Ohio State got it turned around in the second half, scoring 27 straight unanswered points. They would grab the win 34-21. In the SEC, LSU would dominate Georgia. Joe Burrow had a great game. He's definitely going to bring home that Heisman hardware as they won 37-10. Oklahoma would take the rematch against Baylor with a final score of 30-23 in overtime. In the Pac-12, Oregon took down Utah, crushing their hopes of getting into the college football playoffs with a final score of 37-15. In the American Conference, we had another matchup between UC and Memphis, who played just nothing but a week earlier. Memphis would again get the better of UC 29-24, but those Bearcats battled hard and they had a great game. And finally, in the ACC, Clemson will get a defining win against Virginia, 62-17. With all that being said, here is who got into the college football playoffs. At the number 1 seed, we have LSU, followed by number 2, Ohio State, 3 at Clemson, and the 4 seed, Oklahoma, snuck in there, bringing home that, rounding out the top 4. The bowl games have also been released. In the Fiesta Bowl, Clemson will take on Ohio State. In the Peach Bowl, the other semifinal game, Oklahoma and LSU will battle it out. Georgia versus Baylor in the Sugar Bowl. And Oregon will take on Wisconsin in that usual Pac-12 Big Ten Rose Bowl. Florida plays Virginia in the Orange Bowl. And Penn State and Memphis will battle it out for the Cotton Bowl. Auburn, Minnesota in the Outback Bowl. And finally, Alabama takes on Michigan in the Citrus Bowl. Followed by the Gator Bowl will face Tennessee and Indiana University. Around the world of the NFL from yesterday's scores. Yesterday in the NFL, I watched probably the best game I've seen this year. The Saints and the 49ers duked it out, with the two teams scoring over 40 points each. The final score would be a 48-46 victory for the Niners, who had a game-winning field goal. Drew Brees and Jimmy Garoppolo went off, battling out to see who was going to be the star QB in this game, as Garoppolo got the best of Brees. Here are some other scores from around the NFL. The Vikings took down the Lions 20-7. The Broncos defeated the Texans 38-24. The Browns defeated the Bengals 27-19. And the Jets got the better hand of the Dolphins by 1 point, 22-21. That rounds up our NFL as we're going to hop back into the college football playoff and some of those bowl games. Just going to talk about it a little bit, not a whole lot. We'll save that for some of the end of the week discussion. But obviously, the big story was LSU jumped Ohio State from the 1 seed. A lot of controversy, but as an Ohio State fan, I'm a half and half, if that makes any sense for any of you guys out there. I do think Ohio State winning that game, with the resume that they had, they still shouldn't have been jumped. They should have just stayed at 1. But then there's the other hand. I watched that LSU game, and I've watched LSU this whole year, and I'm thinking, I don't know. I don't know if Ohio State is better than LSU at this point. So that's where I'm at, half and half with who should be. I think Ohio State should have stayed at 1, but I'm going to respect the decision of the committee to move LSU above them. And also, as an Ohio State fan, I'm not going to lie, I am extremely worried about playing Clemson. We do not have a good resume against them. The last 2 times we've played them, I'm pretty sure we've been whopped. Trevor Lawrence is good. The Clemson team has been kind of in the shadows all year, and that Dabo Swinney, I know he's looking to strike and get right back in this championship game. So if Ohio State plays like they did in the first half against Wisconsin, we're going to get shredded. But if they come out and play like Ohio State, I know how they play. If they come out and play like Ohio State that I've seen this year, it's going to be a great game. LSU and Oklahoma, two quarterbacks that are still in the run for the Heisman. Jalen Hurts for Oklahoma and obviously Joey Burrow for LSU. 2 high-powered offenses, and the defenses both have, the last 3 weeks, have just rose up from the ground out of nowhere. Not really known for their defenses this year, more for that high-powered scoring offenses. But these defenses are going to bring some grit into these games, and I'm excited for these semifinal matchups. It's going to be a fantastic day of football, and both those games will be airing on December 28th. LSU and Georgia will take place at 4 p.m., followed by the Buckeyes and the Tigers at 8. A couple of those bowl games that I'm going to recognize. Michigan got a tough draw. They're going to have to take on Alabama, but they battled Ohio State there for a while. They got a little bit of momentum. Jim Harbaugh is going to have the boys ready to play, but I got to have Michigan win this. I mean, I don't know what Michigan's going to do if they lose, coming off the loss to Ohio State. Alabama is low, though. Saban with that loss off the Iron Bowl. So it's going to be interesting to see both teams losing to their rival, coming into a big bowl game, looking to say, all right, this is going to set the tone for next season, period. So, look for Michigan to play good, look for Alabama to play good. Should be a great matchup. As usual, in the Rose Bowl, we'll have that Pac-12, that Big Ten clash. It's the granddaddy of them all, they say. Last year, that was the same thing, Pac-12, Big Ten. Oregon, Wisconsin. Oregon just getting off that big win against Utah, and Wisconsin playing great 3 quarters of football against Ohio State. I got to be rooting for the Big Ten. I always root for the Big Ten, no matter what. Yes, even Michigan. I am rooting for them because, the more we win games and bowl games, the more we look like that dominant conference, which I just love seeing the Big Ten at the top of everything. So, Wisconsin, they're going to come out, they're going to give that ball to Jonathan Taylor, and they're going to try to run it right at Oregon. And Oregon's going to, kind of do the opposite. They're going to put it in their quarterback's hands, Justin Herbert. They're going to try to sling it around a little bit. That Wisconsin secondary was kind of tested late against Ohio State. So, look for Oregon to, kind of come at them. And Wisconsin's defensive front was also, playing really well against Ohio State. So this is going to be a great game. We're going to go to that Sugar Bowl real quick. Georgia versus Baylor, both coming off losses in their conference championship games. Obviously, Baylor in that overtime loss, that was unfortunate. They played pretty good, and without their starting quarterback who got knocked out of the game with a concussion. Georgia, old Kirby Smart, his team's just not looking the same this year. They don't have the receivers around Fromm. I'm seeing everybody saying, Fromm's this, Fromm's not the same, he can't complete a ball. And yes, that is true. Jake Fromm has not played like we've seen him play in the last 2 years. But at the same time, it's hard to complete passes and throw for 300 yards a game when you graduate 3 receivers that left early for the NFL. Your star receiver was out the first half of the LSU game for fighting, and your best receiver broke an ankle a couple weeks earlier and already had surgery. So they're the 3rd and 4th strings in there, and it's got to be tough for that Georgia offense. So I'm not sure who to pick there. If Baylor has their quarterback back, I'm going to go with Baylor. We move to the Cotton Bowl, Penn State versus Memphis, another Big Ten versus American Conference team. Memphis obviously coming off those last 2 weeks, their wins against UC both weeks. Both great games, both high-powered offenses. Sean Clifford's leading the Nittany Lions in there, and Kevin Johns is getting that offense ready. I am going to pick Penn State in this one just because they're, I don't know, just maybe a tiny bit of a bigger school, bigger, better athletes right now. But that's an extreme accomplishment for a team like Memphis to kind of come out of nowhere the last 2 years and reach the Cotton Bowl, one of the biggest bowls that we have. With that being said, this has been episode 15 of The Bench, and I hope you had a great day, and we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday.